Hello, everyone. My name is Shelly Grady, and I am here to share with you some of my experience with how to create assessments and do various activities in D2l. For this video, we're going to be focusing on how to create the assessment, and then you'll see different videos available to you for each of the different types of assessment questions that you can use. So to start with, you can see I'm already logged into D2l. I am in my course page, and I'm going to click now under assessments, and under the drop down you have the option to click on quizzes. From here, we're going to click on new quiz. Now, I do want to say that this is a very introductory video, so we're not going to go into reports, setup, and the different advanced features available. I just want to get you the very basics to make sure that we have everything that we need to get these quizzes online. So first, before you can do anything else, you do need to come up with a name for your quiz. Please keep it simple, something that's easy for the students as well as you to identify and make sense of. So for this, I am simply going to put Chapter 8, as that is what the quiz is going to be covering. If you use categories in your class, you can either select a category from here or you can add a category from here. So let's say I have a whole category for each chapter, and then I'm going to add this under Chapter 8. More likely, as I have my class set up, this is going to be online quizzes, as that is going to be their new participation grade in lieu of the in-class quizzes that they were doing before. So we're going to come back to quiz questions in those other videos. You do have a couple additional options here. We can certainly create a description or an introduction to the quiz. Completely optional, does not have to be done. Same thing with your header or footer. And then the advanced properties, we'll take a look at in another video as well. For restrictions, I do want to spend some time on because this is something that is going to be very relevant for you when you're creating your quizzes. First of all, if you're hiding it from users, they can't see it. So if you do decide to hide it for now, what you want to do is make sure you go back in there and unclick that box to unhide it from those users. Due dates are very important. As we know, students live for these. So I am going to encourage you to select a due date. For all of my classes, I typically prefer to have the due date be on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. or excuse me, at 11:59 p.m. There we go. It's very simple. I like to keep my deadlines across all of the classes so everybody simply knows everything has to be done by that time. The start date is when they can first access this. So I am making my due date on the 12th. I don't want them to come in there now. I don't want to have 3 weeks for them to decide when to take this. And realistically, I don't want my students to have access to the quiz when they're on spring break. I want them to have spring break. So what I'm going to do is come in and I'm going to open this up starting on the day of my class, which is going to be that Wednesday. And that is going to give them from the 8th to the 12th to get this assignment completed. You can also set these very specifically so that they are directly during the time that your class would typically meet. But please keep in mind that prior to this change, your students were in class and had computers available if the classroom had them. And we don't know for certain that they have those computers at home. So it might not necessarily be the best idea to set that exam time to only be available for the limited time that your class met. The next thing we're going to do is take a look at the end date. So if the due date is the 12th, I am going to set an end date, and I'm going to set that end date for the 13th. What that means is that they're not able to access and take the quiz after that date, after the due date has happened. And we don't necessarily want students to be able to go in and out of that quiz anytime they want. The last thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to do this every time I have a quiz or any option to do it, is click to display in the calendar. Students love to be able to see what do I have coming up this week at a glance in their calendar in D2l. And anytime we're checking this box, this quiz is then going to show up in D2l calendar, letting them know that they are running out of time. All right. Now that we have those set up, I am going to skip over the release conditions for this. There may be a separate video that discusses that in further, but this is a very introductory video, so we're just going to jump over the advanced restrictions for now. I do want to point out with the time limit that you are encouraged and welcome to add that in there. You have to choose whether it's a recommended time limit or an enforced time limit. And you do have the ability to show that clock during that exam. If you are going to go with an enforced time limit, you'll notice that there is a grace period that is going to flag before they exceed that time limit, which is going to get them the knowledge that they need to wrap it up. You then need to decide what happens if they go past that enforced time limit. Do we just allow the student to continue working and have it flagged as being past time limit? Do we prevent them from making any further changes? Hard stop, and now you're done? Or do you automatically give them a 0 if they go past the deadline and time that you have provided? Again, this is going to be up to you, but it is important that if you are using an enforced time limit, that you're choosing which of those you want to be, and also letting the students know ahead of time. If there is a hard stop on the exam, please be sure to include that in your description so that students are aware of that and making whatever arrangements they need to be uninterrupted and be sure that they're done at that point in time. Special access is going to be in a different video, so I am going to skip over this, but now I'm going to save before we go to our next tab. Make sure you're saving each time once you finish a tab just so that you don't lose anything that you've already worked on. All right, we are going to go into the assessment. That's the last of the pages we're going to look at. The rest of them are a little bit more advanced. If you are going to allow attempt to be set up as graded immediately on completion, keep in mind that for certain types of questions, D2l is not able to automatically grade those, and so it's going to default to 0, at which point you'll need to go in and manually grade those and then update the grade as needed. So I really only encourage you to use the allow attempt to be set as graded immediately on completion if you're using mostly multiple choice and true and false. And the little question marks are really helpful. They're going to give some important information for you. So just remember, it has to be auto gradable in order for this to really work. All right, now for our grade item, we can tie it to one or we can add a new one. I have already created a chapter 8 quiz within my grade book, so I can simply click that here, or I can add a new grade item here. Again, when it comes to this, in this page, you're only able to choose categories that you've already pre-made, so you'll want to have that set up in the gradebook ahead of time so that you can select it from here. All right, you can also create a new grade item here just like you would when you're in the gradebook itself, and you have the option to select the number of points as well as if you can exceed them and different things like that. One of the ones to pay attention to is the exclude final grade calculation. If you want to put together practice quizzes for students to take on their own, then please be sure that you are checking the exclude from final grade calculation box. This literally means it will not be included in their course grade, and for practice exams, that's exactly what we want them to have. All right, we've already done the rest of this, so we're good here. And now we also have the box here that is going to allow us to select attempts. If you want to select multiple attempts, you are welcome to do so. Keep in mind that that is going to add some additional steps that you will need to choose. So once we up it to our number of attempts allowed and click apply, then what we need to do is go back in and decide which of those grades we're going to use. Is it going to be their highest grade, their lowest grade, the average of all of their grades, the first attempt, or whatever their last attempt score is? You also have a little bit more advanced ones here that you can use it, and you can look into that if that's something you'd like. A couple of things to keep in mind with this. If a student has their computer crash or they are kicked out in the middle of an exam, they are going to need to reach out to you for an override in order to be able to retake that exam. The way to prevent this would be to allow multiple attempts on this page. Having said that, there is no way to ensure that those multiple attempts are only given to those that have technical issues unless you are the person that is providing that manual override. So again, you're really going to have to decide what is going to work best for you for this situation. And then again, we want to make sure we're saving so that we have everything here kept as needed. All right, now that we're all completed, we finished our properties, our restrictions, and our assessment, we can go ahead and click Save and Close and take it from there. And that is how we create a quiz. You'll see it now under our list of quizzes. And to go back in and add new questions, we're just going to click on Chapter 8, and it's going to take us right back into that quiz. And we will take a look at the different types of quiz questions available to you in the other videos. Thank you so much, and have a great day.